Audio intro plays. Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Okay, so you sent us this one.
Trouble Island by Sharon Short.
Yeah, and I think we both really got into it.
Oh, definitely. So today, I think our mission is to really try to track the events as they happen and kind of see how the story unfolds.
Yeah, like beat by beat.
Beat by beat. And this is, I guess it's historical fiction, right?
Yeah, it is.
Set on a private island in Lake Erie, I think it was.
Yeah, Trouble Island, Private Island, Lake Erie, November 1931.
Okay. And we see everything through the eyes of Aurelia Escalante, who is a domestic servant. She works for Rosita McGee.
Mysterious Rosita McGee.
Yeah, who owns the island, right?
Yes.
And we know right from the start that Aurelia, she has some secrets of her own.
Oh, definitely.
So the book starts with a very, I guess what seems like an ordinary morning swim.
It does.
But it doesn't stay ordinary for long.
Yeah.
Things take a turn right away, right? Yes. Yeah, she sets out for her morning swim around the island. Kind of a workout.
Yeah.
But she finds the water colder than she anticipates.
Oh.
And she has to turn back and swim to the North Shore. And when she gets to the North Shore, she realizes that there's no path leading from the North Dock.
Ah.
And it's too far for her to swim back to the main dock at the mansion.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's stuck.
She's a little stuck.
Yeah. And that's when she remembers that she's hidden this lockbox.
Yes.
With at least $500, which back then was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Under the North Dock.
Out of that same North Dock.
So where she's like, okay, well, I'm stuck here, but maybe this is my chance.
Yeah.
To escape,
Make a new start.
Yeah, start a new life. So she gets the lockbox.
It's the lockbox.
But then she sees a yacht approaching.
Yeah.
From the south. It's the Myra.
Eddie McGee's Myra.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Eddie McGee is Rosita's, I guess, her ex, right? Or they're separated.
Her estranged husband.
Okay.
Yeah. Who she doesn't live with.
Yeah. Okay. So she's got to get out of there.
She does.
And she heads back to the mansion. She runs into a new bodyguard who's never been to the island before.
Right, yeah.
And he offers her his jacket, right?
Yeah, a hunting jacket.
A hunting jacket. And she's in a swimsuit.
Yes. She doesn't even try to explain herself.
Right. Smart.
Yeah. She knows she must look like a crazy person,
Soaking wet, in a swimsuit, wearing a hunting jacket.
Scraped hands and knees from falling on the rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a mess.
Yeah.
But she avoids the other servants.
Uh-huh.
Because she knows that they would find her appearance very strange.
That's
and
right.
she goes straight up to Rosita's suite on the 3rd floor. And we find out that this suite, it's like a whole floor.
Yeah, it's Rosita's own private domain.
Yeah.
She's got a masked bedroom. There's a large sitting room. And then there's a former nursery, like a playroom that she keeps locked.
Oh.
Nobody can go in there but her.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And she just barges right in, like frantic, calling out for Rosita. Yeah. So it's clear that she needs help. Copy to escape the island.
Well, the Myra, the yacht, it brings guests who were either indebted to Eddie.
Okay.
Or vice versa. So these are not casual guests.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she needs to find a way out of there before Eddie sees her.
Right.
Yeah. So she leaves Rosita's suite and she goes to change. And I thought it was interesting that, she finally gets to wear warmer clothes. And she's kind of excited about that. She's been wearing those maid uniforms.
Right. Those black and white dresses. Yeah.
Yeah. But she still puts on the maid uniform.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think she knows that appearances are important.
Yeah.
Especially with Eddie McGee arriving. She needs to blend in, not draw attention to herself.
Right.
And she doesn't want to raise any suspicions.
Okay. And then she goes to the housekeeper, Maxine Carmichael, who's down in the basement kitchen.
Yep.
And she tells her that Eddie's coming.
Yeah. And probably with some guests,
Right. But Maxine already knows this.
Yeah.
Seamus had told her.
Seamus had already spread the word.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this kind of gives us a list of who's on the island at this point, right?
Yeah, besides Maxine and her husband Henry, there's Rosita, Aurelia, Seamus, and Liam, another bodyguard.
Okay. So a pretty small group.
Small group.
Yeah. And Aurelia notices that the Carmichaels are acting a little strange.
They are.
Like they're tense,
Yeah. And, they're usually very meticulous in their work,
Right, yeah.
Always doing everything properly.
So this must be a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Something's definitely up.
Yeah. And Aurelia kind of thinks back to her own arrival on the island 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't a happy arrival.
Oh, it wasn't.
But she remembers how kind the Carmichaels were to her. They had no idea why she was really there.
Right, yeah.
And she thinks for a second, well, maybe they know.
Yeah, maybe they suspect that she's been carrying messages between Eddie and Rosita.
Okay. But she dismisses the thought.
She does.
Yeah. And then, just as she's thinking about that, a voice announces the arrival of Eddie McGee and 6 others.
Oh.
So it's happening.
Here we go.
The Myra has arrived.
Yep.
So Aurelia goes to get her coat.
Mm-hmm.
And she heads up to the second floor veranda.
Yeah.
To watch the new arrivals come ashore.
Yeah. She thinks that Eddie will want to show off the grounds before they go inside.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And we get this interesting little detail that she's taken up bird watching.
She has. It's become kind of a hobby, a way to cope with being stuck on the island.
Yeah. And there are a lot of birds there, right?
Yeah. She's learned to identify all sorts of them.
Like loons.
Loons, yeah. Common loons and red-throated loons.
Wow.
And gulls, herring gulls, and ring-billed gulls.
Okay.
Mergansers, ducks like goldeneyes, chondra swans, even long-tailed ducks, and purple sandpipers.
Wow, she knows her birds.
She does.
Yeah. And it's kind of a contrast to when she first arrived, right?
Yeah. You know, she was really despairing back then.
Yeah.
She actually had some passive suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
But Rosita had promised her that her stay would be temporary.
Okay.
And that she'd get a new identity eventually.
So there was some hope.
Yeah, a little glimmer of hope.
Yeah. So now she's on the veranda watching the new arrivals. And suddenly Rosita appears.
Yeah, right next to her, wearing a heavy black dress.
Wow.
And a veil.
A veil.
A veil.
Okay. So she's dressed for something.
Yeah, she's ready for a dramatic scene.
Yeah. And she's wearing her jasmine perfume.
Yes, her signature scent.
And then we get this little scene inside with Rosita's blue and yellow macaw.
Largo.
Largo, yeah. And he's perched on Aurelia's shoulder.
Yeah. She's cleaning his cage. And he's totally calm. Even nudges her cheek with his beak, like affectionately. It reminds Aurelia of the canary Rosita gave her before, Delia.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that earlier. Okay, so there was some closeness there.
It seems so.
Yeah. And now she's watching the new arrivals come ashore.
Yeah.
And she tells Rosita who they are. There's Claire, who is Rosita's cousin.
Yes.
And Douglas Johnson, an actor and screenwriter.
Right.
Dr. Aldridge. And then Marco Giffrey. And another bodyguard.
Right.
But it's Marco who really bothers Rosita.
Yeah, she's visibly shaken by his presence.
Okay. And Eddie notices this right away.
Oh, yeah. He even offers to get rid of Marco for her.
Oh, that's not good.
Not good at all.
So right away, we know Eddie's a dangerous guy.
Yes.
Yeah. And he demands that Rosita join them all in the music room after dinner.
Yeah.
It sounds like a threat.
It does, yeah.
Okay. And Aurelia can tell that Rosita was expecting this.
Yeah, almost like she was waiting for Eddie to have this reaction.
Oh, so she has a plan.
It seems so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So then we're at dinner, and Aurelia is thinking about Eddie McGee and what she knows about him.
Right.
Which is not a lot.
Not a lot. She knows he was orphaned in Toledo.
Okay.
That he made his fortune bootlegging during Prohibition.
Okay.
And that he named his yacht the Myra after his mother.
Okay.
But that's about it.
Yeah. So there are a lot of gaps in his history.
Definitely.
Yeah. And during dinner, she notices that Henry Carmichael is acting more relaxed.
He is, yeah. He even exchanges a look with Maxine. And then they both leave the dining room.
So they had some kind of private conversation?
Maybe.
Maybe. And then Aurelia gets one of her headaches.
Right. One of those spells her father used to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's serving coffee. And she feels Dr. Aldridge's eyes on her.
Yeah.
And she's a little creeped out by that.
Understandably.
Yeah. And the dinner, it's not exactly a pleasant affair, is it?
No, it's quite tense.
Yeah. Marco is being his usual, I guess, boorish self.
Yeah, he's pretty obnoxious.
Yeah. Claire's just laughing too loud.
She is. Yeah, it's almost forced.
Yeah. And this makes Aurelia wonder if Rosita confided in Claire about her past. You know, because they were friends before.
Right. And now Aurelia is just a servant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Claire acts like she doesn't even remember Aurelia.
Yes, yeah.
Which makes Aurelia even more uneasy.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So after dinner, they all gather in the music room. And we get a description of how they're all sitting. Marco's near Claire.
Right.
Eddie and Dr. Aldridge are on the couch. And Douglas is at the piano.
Yeah.
And Douglas starts playing.
Yeah, slow waltz.
A waltz. And that's weird, right?
Yeah, the piano has been off limits since Rosita moved back permanently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is a change.
Definitely.
Yeah. And Aurelia even brings Douglas an ashtray for his cigarette.
Yeah, she's nervous. She can sense that some unspoken rules are being broken.
Yeah. And Claire mentions something about needing a snappier tune for their film.
Yeah, like hinting at a project she's working on with Douglas.
Okay. And then Aurelia tries to leave the room. But Joey, one of Eddie's men, blocks her way.
Yeah, he's basically guarding the door.
Okay. And then Eddie says no one is leaving.
Yeah, he announces that Cormac's going to bring the rest of the staff to the music room.
Oh, wow. He's rounding everyone up.
He is, yeah.
Okay. And he keeps asking about Rosita.
Yeah, where's Rosita? When's she coming down?
Yeah. And his tone makes it pretty clear that he's not happy.
No, not at all.
Okay. And Aurelia says she's not coming down. But just then, they hear footsteps.
Yeah.
And Rosita enters the room.
It's Rosita in her black dress and veil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she was coming down.
She was, yeah.
So right away, there's this, tension.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Rosita is wearing that jasmine perfume that she hasn't worn since she's been on the island. And Eddie announces that he'll grant her the divorce.
Yeah, the divorce she asked for after their son's burial.
Right.
But only if she gives him the island.
Oh.
And accepts a payment.
Okay, so there are strings attached.
Definitely.
Yeah. And this shocks Marco because Eddie had already offered to sell him the island.
He had.
So Eddie's playing them both.
It seems so.
Yeah. And Rosita, she's devastated by this.
He is, yeah. She says she won't sell her island to Marco, the man she believes killed their son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She thinks Marco killed all of her.
Yeah, she does.
But she never told Aurelia this before.
No, she didn't.
So there's a lot going on under the surface here.
Yeah.
And everybody reacts to this news.
Yeah, some with worry, some just kind of impassive.
And then Eddie gets even worse.
Yeah.
He demands that Rosita sing.
He does.
And he's got a gun to her ribs.
Yeah, it's a really scary moment.
And Rosita agrees to sing.
She does. At first, her voice is shaky.
Yeah.
But then it becomes stronger.
Okay.
And it takes Aurelia back to when she first met the McGees at the Century Club in Toledo. Over 3 years ago.
Yeah. So we're going back in time a bit.
We are, yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we get a bit more of Aurelia's backstory.
Right, yeah.
We learn that she ran away from her family's farm when she was just 18.
She did, yeah. She was hoping to go to Chicago.
Okay.
For a new life.
Yeah.
But she only made it to Toledo.
Oh.
And, her skills are limited.
Yeah, right.
She's good at homemaking, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she remembers working at the Century Club,
Mm-hmm.
which is where Eddie had this shipping business.
Yeah, and his so-called insurance dealings.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So not exactly legitimate.
Not really.
Yeah. And she felt like such an outsider there.
She did, yeah.
Yeah. And then there was Pony.
Right. Her husband.
Yeah. And he was so eager to be part of Eddie's inner circle.
Yeah, desperate for Eddie's approval.
Yeah. Okay, so Rosita's singing.
She is.
What's the song?
I'm Always Chasing Rainbows.
Oh, wow. So, that's significant.
It is.
Yeah.
Rosita's singing it with this knowing, longing tone.
Yeah.
And it really affects Aurelia.
Okay.
Because Aurelia feels like she's been chasing rainbows too.
Yeah.
And they never seem to materialize.
Yeah. And then Pony gets all possessive and pinches Aurelia.
He does.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And Rosita seems to approve of Aurelia's reaction.
Yeah, like a little nod of understanding between them.
Okay. So they have this weird connection.
They do.
Yeah. And Aurelia says the song reminds her of home.
She does.
Which maybe it does.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then Seamus does something really unexpected.
Yeah, he expresses concern for Aurelia.
He does.
Yeah. His eyes soften.
Okay.
And she starts crying.
Wow. Okay. So maybe there's something there between them?
Maybe.
Yeah. And she leaves the music room.
Yeah, she needs to collect herself.
Right. And Maxine comes into the kitchen.
She does, yeah, with the dishes from dinner.
And Aurelia insists on washing them.
She does. She wants Maxine to rest and check on Henry.
That's kind of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's washing dishes. And she's thinking about all this tension.
Yeah, and Rosita's coldness towards her.
Yeah, she doesn't understand it.
She doesn't know.
And she hears this jazz music coming from the casino.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds her of those earlier, happier times.
Yeah, before Pony got involved with Eddie and Rosita.
Yeah. And then she has this flashback to Oliver's death.
Mm.
She remembers the funeral.
The little coffin.
Yeah.
Rosita and Eddie following it.
Right.
And then Rosita locked herself in her suite.
Oh, wow.
For days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this sadness hanging over everything.
Definitely.
Yeah. And Aurelia goes up to Rosita's suite.
She does.
with a tray.
Yeah, hoping to help.
Yeah. But Rosita calls her Susan.
She does, yeah. Aurelia's real name.
Right.
That she hasn't used in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rosita is keeping her distance. Yeah. And she doesn't want to talk about Eddie or any leverage Aurelia might have over him.
No, she's got other things on her mind.
Oh, like what?
She says she's found a treasure.
A treasure?
Yeah. Hidden under the lighthouse dock.
Okay.
Enough for them to start over.
Wow.
She even suggests taking the Carmichaels and Largo with them.
Okay. So she's thinking of escape.
Yeah. But then she turns on Aurelia.
What?
Yeah. She says that seeing Aurelia has tainted the island for her.
Oh, wow.
That keeping Aurelia there was supposed to be a punishment, but it's only been punishing her, Rosita.
That's harsh.
It is, yeah.
So Aurelia's hurt and confused.
Yeah, and scared.
Yeah. And she tells Rosita about Cormac's threat.
Right?
That he'll tell Marco who Aurelia really is.
Yeah, unless Aurelia can convince Rosita to take Eddie's deal.
So she's caught in the middle.
Totally.
Yeah. So she goes back to her room, and we see her little space.
Yeah, she has a wardrobe full of borrowed books.
Okay.
Things she's found on the shore on her desk.
Great.
And 2 framed pictures.
Okay. Of who?
One of her and Oliver.
Yeah.
And one of her and her brother Levi on their childhood farm.
Okay, so these are like her anchors to the past.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. And she gets out her father's cigar box, which is cedar, with a woman named Aurelia painted on the lid.
Yeah, it's her namesake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she's thinking about family.
Yeah.
And then Seamus appears at her door.
He does.
And he tells her to be careful.
Yeah.
That things are going to get ugly. Okay, so another warning.
Yeah.
And she offers him his coat back.
She does.
Just to be polite.
Yeah. But there's this tension between them.
Okay.
Yeah. And Seamus seems almost disappointed that she's worried about appearances at a time like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they end up in bed together.
They do.
So that happened.
It did.
Yeah. But the next morning, she wakes up to screams.
Yeah.
And Eddie's freaking out. Rosita's missing.
Yeah. Gone from her locked suite.
Well.
Eddie found a note under his door.
Okay.
Addressed to Dearest Eddie, asking him to meet her at the North Boathouse at dawn.
Okay.
Signed, Your loving wife, Rosita.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
What?
It's written on plain cream stationery.
Oh.
Not Rosita's usual embossed letter paper.
That's odd.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Claire comes out of her room.
She does, yeah. Says she heard something about Rosita being missing.
Oh.
But Seamus tells her to go back to her room.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Claire says she didn't see Rosita after the music room. But Aurelia remembers seeing her.
Yeah. Late that night.
Yeah, coming out of the bathroom. And she was drunk.
Yeah.
So her memory might be a little fuzzy.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah. And they all go to check Rosita's rooms, and she doesn't answer.
No.
So Aurelia unlocks the suite.
Yeah.
And Eddie pushes past her.
He does, yeah. He's really worried.
Yeah. And the suite is empty.
It is, yeah.
But her jasmine perfume is still in the air. And Largo's cage is a mess.
Yeah. No food or water.
So she didn't just go for a walk.
No.
Right. And then they check the nursery.
That locked room.
Yeah.
And Eddie has to force the door open.
Oh, wow.
And he's just devastated by what he finds in there.
What is it?
The book doesn't say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's clearly bad.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And then Eddie turns on Aurelia and accuses her of helping Rosita hide.
He does.
And she's like, no, I swear the last time I saw her was after midnight. And she says they should look for clues.
Yeah, anything that might tell them where she went.
Yeah. And Eddie, he's so focused on that note.
Yeah, he's convinced it's Rosita's handwriting.
But Seamus points out that he hasn't seen her handwriting recently.
He does.
And he says maybe she left another note.
Yeah.
Or some other clue to where she is.
Yeah, a different meeting place.
Okay. And Eddie, he's like, no, that's not possible.
Yeah, but then he starts to think about it.
Yeah.
And Aurelia offers to search Rosita's bedroom and bathroom, and Seamus finds something interesting.
Yeah, the bell rope that used to connect to Aurelia's room.
Okay.
It's cut. And neatly coiled. So someone cut it on purpose.
Yeah, but they don't find a diary. Or any other obvious clues. And then they think, well, maybe Rosita just decided to take off.
Yeah, maybe she was so upset after the scene in the music room.
Right.
That she just decided to leave.
Yeah. But Eddie's not convinced.
No. He seems like he's looking for something specific.
Oh, okay. And then he decides to search the rest of the mansion.
He does.
And he takes Cormac with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to keep Rosita's disappearance a secret.
Yeah.
Even though Claire already knows.
Yeah, she's unreliable anyway.
Yeah, she can't keep a secret.
Exactly.
So they go off to search. And everyone else gathers in the library.
Mm-hmm.
And Marco's freaking out.
Yeah, he's really agitated, demanding to know what's going on. And Eddie finally tells them that Rosita is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone reacts differently, right?
Yeah.
Douglas seems really worried.
Mm-hmm.
But the others, it's not so clear. Like, some are shocked. Some are worried.
Yeah.